Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer and welcome to Best Kept Plans. Today's video is going to be a look at my December 2024 TBR. If you're interested in seeing the books that I want to read this month, please stick around. As I said in my introduction, today's video is going to be a look at my December 2024 TBR. I cannot believe we're going to be talking about my last TBR for 2024. I just filmed my November 2024 reading recap, and if you saw that video, you'll know that I really struggled in the month of November. I felt super slumpy for the vast majority of the month, and that's something that's a bit more unique for me when it comes to reading. I've never felt like I was in that much of a book slump since I started reading regularly a few years ago. So definitely hoping to continue to get myself out of that book slump as we're moving into December. I'm filming this video on December 1st. It's exciting to be filming this video so early in the month so that hopefully it posts earlier in the month for you all to watch. And I have 6 books on my TBR for this month. I've been doing that for the entire year of 2024. I think it's a perfect amount of books for me to have on my TBR. It's something I will definitely be continuing for 2025. And the first book that we're going to talk about is actually an arc that I'm super excited for, and that is A Sea of Unspoken Things by Adrienne Young. I have yet to read a book by this author, though I've heard nothing but wonderful things about The Unmaking of June Farrow and Spells for Forgetting. I own both of those books. I just haven't gotten to them yet, and I don't think I'll be getting to them before the end of 2024. And so I think that the first book I'm going to read from this author is actually this new release, which is fun, but also a little scary. Hopefully I like it, and it makes me want to read her other 2 books that I own since I already own them. I don't know anything about the plot of this story, and I like that. I love going into books blind, so I'm excited and really grateful to have the opportunity to read this early. The next book that's on my TBR is part of my 24 books in 2024 reading challenge. This is my first year doing a reading challenge like this, and I actually really enjoyed doing it. I'm so glad that I did it, and I am going to be doing a 25 and 2025 version. I, at one point in the year, was definitely a little bit behind on these books, but the last few months I've caught up. And so for December, I do have just 2 that I need to read. It's my final 2 to complete the challenge. And the first one is You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by Akwaeke and Emezi. I have heard great things about this book. I'm obsessed with the cover of this book. This version of the cover, the hardcover version of the cover, I just think it's gorgeous. And I believe this is classified as romance, though I could be wrong. I do think it's more of an emotional read, a deep read, versus more of like a rom-com romance. But I'm very excited about this. I do think I put it on one of my TBRs earlier this year, and it just didn't seem like the right time to read it. And I don't want to say I have high expectations for this book from what I've heard from other people, but I have high hopes, and it just didn't seem like the right time to read it before. And I'm very excited that December is going to be the time that I'm going to read it. The next book that we're going to talk about is the final book for my 24 books in 2024 reading challenge, and that is Women Talking by Miriam Toews. Don't mind the fact that I ripped the cover of this. I purchased it from Barnes & Noble. It had a sticker on it. I don't like leaving stickers on, so I went to peel it off and it just completely ripped off the cover, and it made me very sad. But I've heard great things about this book. I know that this was adapted into a film, and I heard that the film was incredible as well. This seems like a very interesting story. I know a little bit about it from having seen the trailer to the film, but the details I'm obviously not aware of. I'm intrigued. I think it might be a little bit more of a challenging read. And so I suspect I'm going to leave this for closer to the end of the month. Since I'm still feeling a little bit slumpy, I'm intending on focusing more on romances at the beginning of the month to kind of help me out of that slump. That's what usually works best for me with reading slumps. And then maybe going into a little bit of some deeper things towards the end of the month. And so I think I'm going to get to this then, but very excited for it. The next book we're going to talk about is actually a nonfiction read, and this is going to fulfill my last nonfiction book for my nonfiction reading challenge. I had a goal of trying to read 6 nonfiction books this year. I've read 5, and so I am going to be reading Atomic Habits by James Clear in December. I don't want to get emotional, but it's been a very challenging year for me for a number of different reasons, and I have felt particularly low in the last couple of months. I'm hoping that something like Atomic Habits might be a way for me to make myself accountable for things that will hopefully have a positive impact on how I'm feeling overall. And so I think that this is a great book for me to be reading around this time, and I'm glad that I've not read it yet this year and I'm kind of like saving it for now. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how I end up enjoying it. The last 2 books that are on my TBR for December are definitely a bit more lighthearted. These are the books that I'm kind of intending on starting the month off with. And so the first one is actually an ARC that I received but did not read prior to release date. And that is The Nightmare Before Kissmas by Sara Raasch. I'm probably saying that last name completely wrong. I'm excited to give this a read. I think this is going to be a fun one. And I don't know. I'm hopeful and optimistic that this is going to help me feel like I'm getting out of my reading slump for sure. And then the last book that is on my TBR is the book that I actually started earlier today. This is how I'm starting out my December. And that book is A Holly Jolly Ever After by Julie Murphy and Sierra Simone. I actually got this for super cheap secondhand. I think I paid like $5 for it, if that. And it is in like perfect condition, which is wild. I don't want to get too burnt out on holiday romances, on Christmas romances, but again, knowing that romances work best for me when I'm in a slumpy place, I think this is a good book to start out the month of December with, and I'm excited to continue reading it. There are definitely a couple of books that I want to get to in the month of December that aren't on my official TBR. One of those, I don't actually really have a book, but it's more that I need to read a fantasy. I don't have any fantasy on my TBR as far as I know, unless The Nightmare Before Kissmas ends up having fantasy elements to it. I've been reading a fantasy book every month of 2024, so I do want to read one in December. And then I did get a physical copy of My December Darling by Lauren Asher, which is a little novella as part of the Lakefront Billionaire series, I believe. So I do want to get to this. It's very, very short, so I'm actually thinking this might be something fun to read on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So I'm going to kind of hold on to this one until later on in the month. And that's kind of it. That's it for my December 2024 TBR. I hope that you all enjoyed this video. If you have read any of the books that I talked about in this video, please leave a comment down below with your spoiler-free thoughts. And as always, everyone, please be safe. Bye-bye.